This time at 6:38, we'll call the Weldon City Schools Board of Education meeting to order. I want to thank everyone for coming out and appreciate you taking the time out to come out at the interested part of Weldon City Schools. At this time, we had a mission statement of Ms. Hale.
The mission of the Weldon City School District is to create and maintain a highly effective educational system in which every student receives the highest quality education. School employees and parents work together to prepare students to become caring, competent, and responsible citizens who value education as a lifelong process.
Thank you, Ms. Hale. Next, you have a look at the agenda. Do you have any changes or recommendations?
Mr. Chair, we have a contract from the DC department and needs to be added for.
Let's make that number 11. Stand it over 12. Action for public session. We putting there number 11 at EC. Contract number 11. Then they will move consent agenda to number 11. To number 12, excuse me. And then action for closed session.
No, you're gonna have to go back to close.
Yeah.
Right, we have to go back to close.
But we need to add that in here, right?
Right. Go back to close, but we just reset. So we can add that, there's number 14. So,
We gotta go back to close before we take action from close.
right, that's why I'm putting action fund close after there, after we go back to close.
Okay, the UC contract is number 11, right?
Okay.
Is that what you're
Right.
saying, right?
Number 12
So number 12
should be returned to close.
Number 13 should be action from closed session. The 14 should be adjourned.
Okay, any questions for the agenda? Recommended change? If not, set the motion for approval of agenda with recommended changes.
I make a motion to approve the agenda with recommended changes.
Second.
We have a second by Ms. Harrison. A motion by Ms. Hale that the agenda be approved, second by Ms. Harrison. Any questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Next, we had a minute,
No minutes.
and this, where the minutes aren't ready yet, so we're gonna have to table those.
I
two.
move that the minutes be tabled.
Second.
Ms. Robinson made the motion to table the minutes. Ms. Hale, second. Any question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, next we have Ms. Angela Lee Easter for recognition and her high school event.
So good evening to the board chair, the vice chair, board members, interim superintendent. Good evening. Dr.
Good evening.
Hey,
Good evening. And to our wonderful community. Welcome, welcome. It is an honor and a privilege to have another opportunity to share with you tonight the great things that are going on here at Weldon City Schools. I will begin with recognitions and acknowledgements.
The 2003, 2004 convocation was a true success and all should be recognized. All of our staff, all of those that was in participation on that day, they should be recognized today because they made it a great success. Next slide. It was a great way to start our school year and an opportunity for everyone to relax in an atmosphere of fellowship. Next slide. In addition to the success of the convocation, the keynote speaker did an excellent job as well. Dr. Andre Stewart truly upheld our theme and brought us back to the basics. Next slide. During the convocation, each school's teacher of the year was recognized, as well as the district teacher of the year. Weldon Elementary Global Academy Teacher of the Year, Connie Wheeler. Weldon Middle School Teacher of the Year was Mr. Corey Odom. Weldon STEM High School Career Academy, Miss Annabelle Bellio. Ronald Valley Early College Teacher of the Year, Empress Basin, and our district teacher of the year was Mr. Corey Odom. Next slide. The learning focus kickoff and the implementation of the classroom environment went well. The sessions were held at Halifax Community College and also on our local campus. Next slide. Open house was a success in all schools. Parents and students were excited and were truly engaged in the experience. Each school provided the necessary information and discussions to help the students with their success during the coming year. I would also like to make mention of Dr. Miller. Dr. Miller did a wonderful job of providing our student athletes with physicals. Also, parents and students met with Coach Lynch and his staff, who provided important information about concussions, and our football team has been participating in the preseason training and also in scrimmage games. Next slide. Weldon City Schools' first day for all students was full of nervousness and excitement for both teachers and parents and students. However, it was a great day as well. Next slide. During the first day, excitement, each school welcomed a visitation from our new interim superintendent, Dr. Simonton, and the board chair, Mr. James Williams. Next slide. Our feature story this evening is homegrown. Miss Chrishay Mallory is a graduate of Weldon City Schools District. She graduated from North Carolina Central University and returned home to give back. It is her desire to make learning fun and build our students academically, mentally, and emotionally. She welcomes her students in each morning to Mrs. Mallory's Beehive. She returned to the very school where she received her early childhood education and is ready and willing to give back to the students and the children of our community. Not only did she receive an education, but a drive to serve others and become the best in everything she aspires to do. Weldon City Schools would like to welcome Ms. Chrishay Mallory back. We would like to spotlight tonight Yanara Brooks, a rising junior who has had an opportunity over the summer to complete an internship with Center for Energy. Brooks was the only student from our district who participated with the Center of Energy Education. This learning opportunity provided her with great work experience and insight on the Center of Energy. Mr. Brian Hopkins, principal of Weldon STEM High School Career Academy, stated, "We are extremely proud of Yanara. All that she has accomplished as a student. She is well-rounded. She's a well-rounded student who also participates in a host of extracurricular activities. She has a bright future ahead of her, and I am so excited and honored to be her principal. Well done, Yanara." And Yanara is here tonight. I would like to get pictures of Yanara, superintendent.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Our next slide. Our Back to the Basics boot camp. Our Back to the Basics boot camp has been posted. All the information has been posted online on our website as well as our Facebook. And I'm sure Dr. Hoffman will be sharing some more information about our Back to the Basics. Our next slide. Tracking the data. I'm sure that we all know that it is important that we track data, we track it academically, but we also should track it in every area of our life to know what we're doing, what we're successful in, and what we need help in. So what this tracking the data is all about is who our audience is and how important our audience is. It is very important that we as a district continue to effectively utilize all available forms of communication to keep our community informed as we strive to build our students and staff, our population, and maintain their commitment. We have to understand who we are reaching and what the impact of our reach. After looking at the analytical data for our website and our social media pages within the month, this activity has increased tremendously. This information is important as we identify, as it identifies to us the people who are looking at Weldon, people that want to know more about Weldon. If we keep them informed by sharing our successes and our growth, we can get our families back, retain employment, and be a beacon of light. What I want to share with you tonight briefly about our data with the social media, just to give you a little understanding of what's going on with that. When you look at the data from it's June 19th to July the 16th, and if you look at the first one that says daily, that dark line at the bottom is how many people we were reaching at that time. That's less than 2,000 people. But now it's from July the 17th until I think it's August the 16th, we are reaching almost 10,000 people. So that's important because when you have people looking at what you're doing, then you have the power to change minds, to change dreams, to change hopes. You got kids, parents looking at what we're doing at Weldon. We want to push the positive side of Weldon. So we want to keep doing that. And that's the daily. The cumulative, as you see, is still growing. It is still growing. Like I said, it's up to almost 10,000. It should be at 10,000 now because this stopped around August the 13th, actually. The next slide. The next slide showing you our followers. We have about 1,600 followers. Now, myself personally, my Facebook, I'm over 5,000. It's only one person. So I know as a district, we can definitely get more people following us if we will share our information, share our pages with people, because we want people to know what we're doing, what we're trying to do, and the things that we are accomplishing. Then you want to look at the fact that male and female, we have in the red women, we have a lot of females watching our page. Their ages are between 35 and 44. And 45 and 54, that's the age that is watching our pages. But look at all the kids. We have younger mothers that have children that can be a part of our school population. We need to get them out there looking at those pages too. So we need to strategize, figure out how to get other people looking at those pages, seeing what Weldon is doing. And we also need to boost men to be looking at those pages as well. Now, the next slide over here, not the one, when you go back. The next picture over here, that shows you the cities that are looking at us. We're Weldon and Roanoke Rapids is beating us. What Roanoke Rapids is like 31% of their population, of our population of reachers, people that we're reaching is Roanoke Rapids. So where's Weldon? And their students are actually here. So there's only 7% of Weldon watching Weldon's page. So we need to figure out in that area too, what do we need to do to get Weldon on board? And you got Enfield watching us, you got Halifax, Raleigh, Gaston, Goldsboro, Rocky Mount, Garrisburg, and South Weldon watching us. And I didn't put the data, but we got people in other countries watching us. It's a small percentage, but it's a percentage. So we got people looking at us and we need to make sure what they're seeing is very positive, something where they're going to build our reputation up. And I'm going to end it with this. When looking at individual posts, and I'm so sorry, I didn't pass this out to you guys. When looking at individual posts, if you go to the analytical data and look at Mr. Hopkins, which is our principal at the high school, and look at his data, he has about 6,000 people who has viewed his page. or view his post. What is Mr. Hopkins doing? And I'm running out. What is Mr. Hopkins doing, or what makes him so interesting that he has 6,000 people looking at his page? Okay, his likes. I think people are like looking at it multiple times. But he has people looking at his page, and then the people that are liking the page, then you want to see who's actually leaving comments. And I mean, he's in the thousands, 2,000, but people who are actually seeing that page is over 6,000 people. So we want to find out what Mr. Hopkins is doing, and we can get our page and
teach a class.
All right. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. You have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we're gonna have the superintendent's report, but first of all, I would like to take this time to welcome Dr. Kenneth Simonton to the district. He will be serving as our interim superintendent. He comes to us from Winston-Salem, and he has a wealth of experience, and we look for him to lead us to greater things and well. So now, without any further ado, as to say, Dr. Salmon.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. I'll say to his defeat, we need to add Ms. Salem on this list because my wife is watching right now. I could not be on Facebook, but she's watching. I think she's been on the website more than I have. She is the math director in Mississippi Side County Schools. So I'm delighted to be here. First of all, I want to thank Chairman Williams and the members of the Board of Education for the opportunity to serve Weldon City Schools, the students, the families, and the community. The first 4 days is day four. Day four. Day four. It was important for me to be here on day one when students got here. I know it's been a pretty quick process for the board to identify an interim superintendent, but I wanted to be here on day one as we got started. So I had an opportunity to go out to each of the schools, thanks to the principals who are on day one, busy doing what principals do on the first day of school. But they graciously allowed Mr. Williams and myself to come in and talk with them and see how things are going. Students on day one were learning, and that's really important. But secondly, I want to thank all of those who work in Central Services for their very warm welcome to me as I get started. In particular, I want to thank Dr. Wendy Carpenter, who has graciously given a lot of her time for me to ask the very, very, very down in the weeds questions. And it's important for me to be down in the weeds so that we can get into the work that you asked me to do. And the work that you asked me to do is to take a look at a lot of things. So what I've been doing primarily at this point is looking at documents, meeting folks, and I've looked at the 4 current strategic goals. And the first goal is around improving academic performance. And that's everybody's primary goal. It's all about teaching and learning. It's all about student achievement. So we will be focused on back to the basics. Back to the basics, making sure that every student in Weldon City Schools is able to get the instruction, able to get the education that they truly deserve. Your second goal is around increasing the cohort graduation rate. Certainly, you have a lot of people working on that. And I have a fair amount of background looking at cohort graduation rate. So I am very, very interested in talking to everybody, K-12. It doesn't just start at high school. It starts from the beginning. So cohort graduation rate is important. And your third goal focuses on the whole child. As we come out of the pandemic, we know that there are many reports out that talk about increased anxiety, depression, all of these indicators that could impact how children do in school. So focusing on the whole child, not only their academic needs, but their personal needs, their social and their emotional needs is really important. And lastly, we have a goal of increasing organizational effectiveness. I'm way into process, I'm way into management, but most importantly, I want to focus on how to build relationships with everybody in the district. So those four goals that you've established help me to get started. I am here, I'm excited, I'm ready to do the work, and I look forward to the work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. At this time, my comments, first thing I'd like to start off with is thanking Dr. Wendy Carpenter. She assumed the duties of the superintendent, during a crucial time for us. And she was still doing curriculum and instruction also when she had a chance. But I just want to thank you for serving that capacity until we were able to get Dr. Simonton in. Nate, I'd like to say happy birthday to everyone that's listening. Happy anniversary. We had convocation. It was a great kickoff to the year. We had a former principal, Dr. Stewart. He is a doctor now and delivered a tremendous message to us. And we want to thank him. And but mainly want to thank central service staff who put convocation together and just say thank you. It's a great way to start the year. As you know, we start back in school now, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. It's gonna take a lot of hard work, but we're gonna do it. Feel that we have the people in place to get it done, so we'll get it done. I know right now, some may be looking at it, but at the end of the year, you say, I made it. I made it. We made it. And so I just want to thank you for that. The last thing is I went to a leadership education and development training program that was held in Williamston. And at that, they presented Weldon City Schools Board of Education a certificate as the Gold Bell Award. And I'll read it. It says Gold Bell Award for whole board training. It's presented to the member of the Weldon City Schools Board of Education for training excellence and commitment during the 22-23 NCSBA academic year of the North Carolina School Boards Association Academy of School Boardmanship. And that is signed by Ms. Leanne Warner, Executive Director. And I was proud to get this. There weren't many schools there that got this. It was a pleasure to bring them back. I said, congratulations. We're attending those programs. This certification or proof that we attend, but let's start putting those things into action. Let's start putting them into action. Will make us a better functioning board so that our schools be better functioning, and above all, our students be the results of that. So again, congratulations and thank each of and everyone for attending. Next, we'll have financial report, Ms. Campbell.
Before I make the presentation, I got the first bit, part, I caught a mistake late this afternoon on my child nutrition, figures. I just want to replace those, and I do apologize for that. Starting on our current expense monthly financial statements for the month of July 2023. Because we're starting a new school year, you have no beginning revenue. So we'll be starting from the beginning. So there's no beginning balance on the revenue. We had a total deposit for the month of July of $102,554.34. And that is our year-to-date total as of July 31st, 2023. Same thing with our beginning expenditures, there's no beginning expenditures. Our total expenditures for the month was $178,228.97. And that is our year-to-date expenditures for the month. Our net result as of July 31st is a negative $75,674.63. I estimated the fund balance as of July 1st of $858,958.41. And how I arrived at that amount, I took the total expenditures for the whole school year and looked at the total expenditures and total revenue as the date as of June 30th, and either deducted the net loss or the net gain, and that's how I came up with the estimate. We will get the final fund balance once the audit is complete, and we have started uploading those documents for the 22-23 school year. And that gives us an estimated unobligated fund balance of $783,283.78. Local Fund 8. Total deposit for the month was $276,766.74. And I will share some of these, the deposits are for the previous school year, so you may see them coming out once the audit is complete. That give us a year-to-date total of $276,766.74. Total expenditures for the month was $60,090.31. Giving us a net result for the year, a positive $216,676.43. Estimated fund balance as of July 1 is $619,287.78. Giving us an estimated unobligated fund balance of $835,964.21. Capital outlay. Total deposit is $25,308.84. Total expenditures for the month was $39,599.53, giving us a net result for the year of negative $14,290.69. Our estimated fund balance is $1,066,966.20. Giving us an estimated unobligated fund balance of $1,052,675.51. Child nutrition. Total deposit is $20,445.61. Total expenditures for the month was $21,748. Giving us a net result for the year of negative $1,302.39. Estimated fund balance is $119,586.10. Estimated unobligated fund balance is $118,283.71. That's the financial statements for the month of July. Are there any questions? I also included online was the all PRC report, and of course you will see none of those have beginner balances. A couple of them did have some in federal, and that is because those are federal carryover grants that the state has already approved, and I have posted into our AS 400. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
All
Ms.
right,
Pam.
thank you.
Appreciate it. Next, we have federal program director. Dr. Robinson.
Good evening, board chair, assistant board chair, vice board chair, board members. Welcome, Mr. Simon, to our school. I'm going to give, hopefully, the last report, federal programs as a federal programs director. Before I start, I just want to ask, are there any questions about our report?
The community learning grant, do we have a zero balance?
We don't have a zero balance, and that's what Dr. Carter was going to talk about. We're going to talk about the financial. So on this part of it, on my part of it, we did not have a zero balance. The grant dropped after the fiscal year because we started our certain program before the fiscal year ended. So it was off balance. So we did, well, Dr. Carpenter and, curriculum team have come up with a plan that has been the rest of the funds with the back to basic food camp.
And what was the remaining balance?
It was 100 and, I got $131,000. We would have expended all those funds, and I can share this information with you, because I do have a talk about sheet. We would have actually overspent the monies had the funding dropped the way that we needed it to drop. But because it dropped after the fiscal year, we did have that money left over. But we do have a plan in place, thanks to the curriculum team, we're gonna spend those funds
By September 1.
by September 1, and they're gonna talk about that.
Ms. Robinson, we have keyed that carryover 200,000 into the new fiscal year and working with Dr. Robinson. We looked yesterday, DPI still has not approved it, but we have received a letter from DPI today saying it was approved, so we're just waiting for them to approve it so we can post any expenditures that has happened in July has already been refunded, and that was like 69,000. So that, and we got some more expenditures to come out that happened last school year. We were able to pay local debt with those funds.
Thank
So I've been working close with her on that.
Okay, thank you.
Shout out to Ms. Campbell. Cause I'm in double duty, and then she's been catching, and she's been working with me, and I'm thankful for that, so. That's a teammate. The next thing, working on Title I, I'm gonna submit that tomorrow, the Title I funds, the consolidated funds, I'm submitting that tomorrow. I had to get some signatures from my new superintendent, so that we can close that out. Esther 2, we work on getting those funds, we don't have a lot left, and as we have those other funding amounts that are coming through, we won't have a lot left in 171, we'll probably won't have any left in 171, because we're spending all of those, so we basically, we're gonna be working with Esther 3, PRC 181, our consolidated fund, and any other grants that we have still out there. That's good until September 2024. Any other- Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. It's with Dr. Wendy Carpenter with curriculum and instruction.
Good evening again, everyone. I'm here to present the instructional report for the month of August, and like everyone before me have stated already, the first couple of days of school has been a success. I would like to just invite everyone to look at the screen. Last school year, we ended the school year with 649 students. We currently have 692 students enrolled. As of Monday, we had 562 students that were present. Tuesday, August 15th, 601 total. Wednesday, yesterday was 610, and today we ended with 620 students enrolled, have not necessarily enrolled, but actually have E1, have actually shown up and participated. So the numbers are growing, and so we're happy about that. Next, I would like to share the operating hours and instructional hours for all schools. They're the same. Office hours are 7:30 to 4, and instructional hours are 7:45 a.m. to 3. And that's for all schools. So testing updates, August 21st through September 11th. We are going to be testing our kindergarten through some of our 4th grade students on our beginning of the year testing at our elementary school. August 29th, we will be providing our third graders with the beginning of the grade DOG testing. This year, we're going to use DPI NC check-ins for our benchmark testing. And I will share those dates will be shared with you in your packet on the testing schedule. And for all of our non-EOC and non-EOG classes, we're going to be using Master Connect Instructor to provide benchmarks for our students. And of course, we are continuing to focus on improvement for the upcoming school year. We have received our 2022-2023 preliminary data. And even though we have made growth in many areas, we are still striving towards academic improvement. So we want to start our next 8 days in Weldon City Schools by providing a back to the basics after school in-school boot camp. This is going to be provided for our grades 2nd through 12th grade students. It's going to be August 21st through 24th, Monday through Thursday, August 28th through August 31st, Monday through Thursday of the following week. All of our principals were involved with choosing their staff to really focus on the different strategies that we're going to be providing our students during this time. Middle school and elementary school, of course, will be focusing on core strategies in literacy, math, history, as well as science, as well as high school, our 2 high schools, but they're going to also be focusing on pre-ACT, ACT test taking strategies, as well as earning some more credits with credit recovery. Stipends for all staff will be $1,600, regardless of whether you are a cafeteria worker, bus driver, teacher, teacher assistant, custodial staff, $1,600, and our coordinators for each of these programs will be $2,000. And so we're looking forward to jumpstart that starting on Monday. Information will be going out tomorrow, if not today. Okay. Any questions about boot camp?
Yes. Good question. And it's just these days that you gave here.
Yes,
They're still gonna, so we're not, so it's not like after school tutorials or mediation. It's
No.
just, okay.
just providing the kids the skills that will help them be, confident in, throughout the school year.
What's the time for this?
3 to 5. In high school, it'll be during the day. So it'll be during lunchtime and during the teacher's planning period. Because we know that high school students have sports and things of that nature. But elementary and middle will be after school, 3 to 5, high schools during the day.
Will transportation be provided?
Yes. And snacks.
So this won't interfere with our middle school students who are with sports too?
Well, we've taken a look at that and we'll see how many students that will apply to. And if we have to do some shifting with adding maybe the 8th grade in school, we'll move it to the in-school boot camp for them. Or any of the students that are athletes.
Dr. Carpenter.
Yeah.
On our copies, all of that, the time and stipends, all that is,
Right, I'm sorry.
is
I
blotted out.
apologize. I'll make sure you have a color copy next time. I was trying to say something. All right, so next, continuing with our continuous improvement, you all know that our instructional framework for this year, and I hope for the remainder of, at least for the next 3 years, is learning focus. That's our instructional framework. And before you should see the implementation plan. Every professional development day, we will be focusing on one of these strategies. So last week, April the 7th is the Tuesday, April 8th, was our first kickoff with our first module, which was classroom environment. And that was very important for our teachers to break out into grade levels. So we had our instructional staff taking the lead, and they will take the lead on all of the implementation of these modules. We have 8 to implement. And each one of them will be implemented, like I said, on early release dates. But the first one was classroom environment. It's very important that we establish a physical classroom environment to support our learners and support our teachers teaching. So that was the focus of that particular module for our students and our teachers. The next one will be on September 7th, and that will be learning goals and essential standards. Essential questions. Now, do our teachers, are they familiar with essential questions? Yes, but we want to dig deeper into making sure that they're utilizing essential questions to enhance teaching and learning. We have other dates we're going to be looking at on October 8th, assignments. They're going to focus on, are they providing rigorous assignments? Are their assignments really aligned to teaching and learning of the standards? November 9th, we were looking at graphic organizers, how to use graphic organizer as an instructional tool to advance achievement for our learners. December 19th will be our assessment prompts. February 8th is learning activities. March 7th is activating strategies, and we will end the year with on April 11th with implementing vocabulary strategies for our students. And so walkthroughs, PLCs, working with individual teachers. So our coaches will spend this year, I know 80% of their time in the classroom. Making sure that we are assisting teachers with the implementation of the instructional framework, working with individual teachers to assist them in areas of improvement based on their needs. We have a learning focused walkthrough instrument that we have to implement with Fidelity, and our principals will be assisting us with that. And so the CNI team will spend at least 80% of our time in the classrooms this year. Any questions about the implementation plan for learning focus?
Dr. Carpenter, I
Yes,
see that you have January up here, but you didn't give us a date for January or May. So are they not doing it in January?
no, I don't think we have early release on those days,
Okay.
just on early release.
Okay.
And so the last reminder is, this is our year for Cognia accreditation. So you all remember, January 10th, I stood before you to tell you that we became a candidate for accreditation. So now we have to go through the actual process. And this is the timeline for that process. Right now, we're fall 2023. The self-assessment, the CNI team, and really the Cognia team, the district Cognia team, working together to finalize the self-assessment for Weldon City Schools, and that'll be done by mid-September. We have also administered some surveys to all of our stakeholders, but we will have to follow up and continue to implement some more and continue to collect student data from our benchmarks and things of that nature. So that'll be a continuous whole year process. And then the last thing that we need to do is throughout this year, we have to implement the learning focus walkthrough instrument. We also have to implement the Cognia instrument. We have to upload that feedback to our Cognia team, because that's going to become part of our accreditation process as well. So we are on timeline. We're on track to complete this timeline, and I will be providing information throughout all board meetings on where we are on this timeline. Any questions about that? And so next in your packet, but you also have individual sheets, but I have the professional development calendar for the 2023-2024 school year, as well as the testing calendar for the school year. And you have colored copies in your packet as well. And you also have a more detailed view of the accreditation process as well.
Mr. Chair. Dr. Carpenter, have you planned past the next 2 weeks for any after-school tutorial?
Yes, so I will probably present to you at the next board meeting in September what our actual after-school program will look like. We have about three or four different options we're working on, and we'll be able to present one to you at the next board meeting. So hopefully that will start in October for our students. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Doctor.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next we have Mr. James Peterfeld with student support service and operations.
Board Chair Williams, board members, Superintendent Dr. Simonton, we bring you updates for operations and student services. First, we'll begin, Ms. Fields and I with, updates from pre-K and the Exceptional Children Program. Just to give you an update on our enrollment for pre-K. Currently, we have, 2 classrooms, established, with, one with 15 students and another classroom with 14 students. And also there will be a 3rd classroom that we're working towards staffing, as well. Just an update on our EC program. We did submit our IDEA grant, both the grant narrative and the budget. Was submitted to NCDPI, waiting NCDPI approval. Counts, we have 98 students who are active in EC program. None awaiting eligibility.
We have 97, we've increased it.
What's that?
I said ours is different. We increased it. That was,
That was 97.
we're saying,
Yeah.
we've had an additional.
Yes. And this is our count of the eligibility areas.
So where did we put the one additional student in?
I see that there, one left,
Autism increased by 1,
right here.
but
is
developmental delay.
ID,
It goes where?
ID,
Okay,
What is it?
so it goes into ID
intellectual disability. ID.
That's what one did.
to make the 98.
Well, there's still a difference between the sheets that we have, because autism is 5 on our sheet and it's 6 on the board, and developmental delay is 2 up there, but we have 3 on our board.
That is the count as of today, and teachers are actively working in their folders and closing IEPs. And that's why the difference is in the numbers.
We do have 98.
Yes,
Yeah. Because you probably, when you had it, you got it on, it was 97, correct? When I printed the slides early in the week, and so today you updated the slide,
right.
and that's why we have 98. You probably could have just left it at what you have on your paper, but a lot. But this is the most up-to-date current information as of 35 minutes ago. So. All right, any other questions about EC numbers? Counts?
I'm still awaiting my information I requested last, from the IDA grant. That you promised me that you would have every, I haven't received it. As for the budget.
I will, I recall the request being to submit the grant on time. I was not reminded that that was also a request, but, we'll certainly get that to you. Any other questions? Yeah, was that? Okay. What's that? All right, let's wait and see.
Yes, sir.
I think there was a request for the budget for the IDEA budget.
Correct. Correct. And you told me you were working on.
Yeah, I recall, Ms. Robinson, sharing with you that I would submit the budget on time. I don't, my apologies if I missed that. I think you were virtual and I might have missed that. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
My apologies.
Thank you.
Do you need a copy of that?
Yes.
It's been submitted in LBAS, so I can print it from the LBAS screen and then scan it and email it to the board.
Thank you.
That's which one?
IDEA.
Except 49 or 6, I get all that mixed up.
Was it 49?
Huh?
Just send us both.
Simple, okay.
Send us both.
I will, I run by tomorrow and get it done.
Okay, I appreciate that.
All right.
I had one more question for EC. Do we have any homebound students in the EC program?
Let's speed up homebound.
No, we do not have any homebound students at this time. There's a correction. We do have a student at the elementary school that is on homework.
Thank you. So we'll go back to services. then.
Yes. Yes, we held this meeting yesterday.
So when will the services start for our students?
She started the first day of this.
All right, so the student services portion, under social and emotional, as you recall, we completed a survey back in the spring with about 90% participation rate for the district. We look forward to doing the same thing in the fall. It's administered 3 times per year. Of course, last spring was the first time that we have offered that in Weldon City Schools, but the cycle is that is offered 3 times per year to look at data around our students' wellness and how they're responding to different data points. So there will be a fall window. Ms. Plum, the MTSS coordinator, we work with principals to schedule that window of when best time to offer that survey again for the fall, followed by using that data to help determine where our needs are and how an SEL curriculum adoption will help support the social and emotional wellness of students. 2 areas, just to update you on for school safety.
So you moving on, I had a question. I know we now have 2 social workers. Have we made a separation of who will be handling the Kenny Vento students and who will be handling absenteeism between the 2, or will they both be handling both?
I wasn't aware that we had 2 social workers.
Ms. Plum?
Okay, so Ms. Plum is our MTSS, well, we have an MTSS coordinator who is supporting the attendance component of social work, and then we still have a full-time social worker. That's my understanding. That's how it was organized.
We weren't aware of that.
Did a position get changed? I wasn't aware that a position was changed, that a name was changed for a position.
Yeah. We may need to discuss that during closed session. Since names were called.
Thank you. Okay. School safety. I had shared a contract for our SRO with Attorney Weber to review that we received from the Sheriff's Department in Halifax County. He has sent some revisions back to Attorney Rollins of Halifax County for review, and they are now just in communication with each other about that MOD for this year. We did not receive a copy that had been attorney review for your approval this evening, but Attorney Weber is aware of where it's at, and I have talked to the sheriff as well about where we are with this MOD.
What about our 3rd security officer for the elementary school?
Yes, in talking with the sheriff, he is still seeking to fill that vacancy. The position is still there. Of course, it's just a vacancy as it remained all of last year's bears. Any other questions about SRO? All right. Also, this board approved the purchase of 2 open gate security scanners with our school safety grant at the end of last year. They were set for the shipment on August the 12th. I've reached out to our vendor for an update. Just waiting to hear back on when we can expect that, and just some tracking maybe information so we can get a more clear understanding. And I also shared too that we talked about having a very robust plan for safety screen equipment across our schools. However, funding sources kind of became a question of how we would be able to fund it. Initially, we talked about using some extra fundings. Talked with Dr. Robinson about maybe where we are with that. However, because of, I think, some changeover at NCDPI in our region that supports our district with those type of questions, we just haven't heard anything supporting that, yeah, go ahead, you can purchase, additional school safety equipment with ESSER funding. I think I think it's worthwhile to continue to pursue, the use of ESSER funding for that, as I'm going to networking at our school safety, conference, North Carolina School Safety Conference, and the RISE conference through the North Carolina Center for Safer Schools. There were districts that I was speaking with who have used ESSER for the same, not similar, but the same type of equipment. So it's just a matter, I think, of us making sure we connect with our DPI folks who are approving that type of request from us. Again, we had to make some tough decisions, so we got two scanners and where they would go. So we relied on our educator handbook discipline data to see where the greatest need would be. And so we're initially going to start with our middle school and our high school. Okay. Of course, tough decisions. We want all of our campuses to start out with that equipment, but as we prioritize where they go based on our funding, that's where we start. All right. Any other questions about school safety? And also the grant for North Carolina School Safety Grant that schools can apply for has not dropped yet because we don't have a state budget. Once the budget is approved, then we'll be able to, the district will apply for that grant. All right, any other questions? All right, next item. Just to update on our ESSER capital projects. That is the roofing at WEGA, the roofing at the gym lobby, at the high school, and HVAC at the high school gym, and HVAC at WEGA. We are near completion of that project, but we have not closed out that project. I believe our contract date was the end of June for that with Progressive Design Collaborative. We had been scheduling some meetings up until that point with the consultant with Progressive Design Collaborative. There was a period of time over this summer where those meetings kind of were not scheduled by Progressive Design Collaborative, and I made some attempts to kind of get us back on schedule with that and working with Progressive Design Collaborative. And I did have to consult with our attorney to kind of get some response to get the project closed out and moving forward. That proved helpful from Attorney Weber to at least get the communication lines back going, but that is still an ongoing project because there's unfinished matters, scope of work that was contracted that has not been completed yet, but we are now back in conversation with the contractors to get that work finished. For example, there's a rooftop unit that provides air to the cafeteria at WEGA that is a brand new unit, but it's not functioning as it should, and they need to be able to make sure that they get that in operation as soon as possible, as well as some other areas throughout that school, such as the recommissioning of the BARD units that we also took care of under this. So there's some ongoing conversation just to get them back online and having some regular work happening to get that corrected. As we approach closeout of this project, as you know, this was part of ESSER 171, and that closes out this year, December. So we are letting them know that this is times of the essence now. Weldon Middle School chiller, just a reminder as I continue to update you all about that, that chiller has met its life expectancy. We've kind of just been fortunate that our maintenance technician has just been able to go over every day to keep that going, the weather, being the way it's been. But we are working with Chamberlain Mechanical to get some quotes on, we've explained to them kind of where we are with the use of that school and what we expect over the next 3 years. And the investment that we would need to put in so that it's not, a new chiller, new air handlers, and new air boxes, but we do need to keep staff and students comfortable until a new school is completed at that middle school. So they're gathering some quotes that will be shared with you hopefully at the next meeting with the contract that will be reviewed by the attorney to begin some work on that unit. It's going to require probably some compressors. Probably going to save some money, as I spoke with Chamberlain today, for example. They asked would we be okay with getting a remanufactured compressor, which is going to save you 50% of the cost versus a brand new one, which might make sense for us in terms of thinking about the use of that facility right now. So there are maybe some ways that we can make responsible decisions with funds, but also make sure that that building remains comfortable for students and staff. For as you make the transition to also now put high school students in there next year as well. The Weldon High School HVAC, I'm referring to the main building. Of course, we talked about the gym and that project, but in terms of the main building right now, it's operating probably about 50%. Mr. Hopkins, you probably can speak to that as you sitting here right now. It's a little warmer than it usually is. It's, just a little bit warmer than it usually is right now in here. But again, we got maintenance technicians jumping on roofs every morning, replacing some type of part to keep us going, to keep us moving. Get us through the heat, and then hopefully we won't have to, have a major expenditure to keep us comfortable and cool as we work towards moving students and staff out of here at the end of the year. We did bring in some portable units before the start of school, just because you don't want staff and students on the first day or any day to come in to a hot classroom. That's just not the way we want to start a school year. And so we were able to go get some portable units and place them in some classroom spaces to keep staff and students comfortable. Still is not nowhere near where we need to be, but at least it's going to help us get there. Also want to remind everyone about the athletic facilities grant that we received in the summer of 22. There was initially a plan to use that $100,000 for renovations to the press box area, and I think to do some work in the concession area of the gym. However, since then, there was a $50 million grant awarded to build a new school. Of course, again, rethinking how you might repurpose or develop another scope of work for that $100,000. I did speak with the chief of the NCDPI School Plan Division, Nathan Mawani, about these monies, just to make sure that, hey, even though we received those funds for this purpose, could we as a district repurpose those monies? And he did say yes. And so I believe you all have received a copy of the grant. That was shared with you all, a copy of this grant. So that just consider how best now you want to use that $100,000 in the district. It can be used K-12 for physical activity and athletic purposes. So we certainly got some things to consider there, but I do want to make sure June 30th, 2024, that money must be spent. And these type of projects, usually there's some design work, and that can usually take some time. So just consider the timeline on that. The Weldon Middle School High School merger also, when we initially discussed bringing the middle school and high school together while a new school is being built, we recognized that there will be the need for additional space. And so there was some discussion about a box modular unit being placed at that site. Again, time being of the essence, now's the time to start really thinking about maybe making that request, placing some quotes, get some quotes out, because that does require the structure, because that structure is going to be placed there and used by students and staff. It will require a certificate of review by NCDPI School Plan Division as well, and those processes do take time. And so probably we need to start thinking about that now rather than later, so that in August of 2024, that is in place and you have an adequate space for all your students and staff at that site. Also, the new playground site at Wega has been identified. Mr. Wood and I walked the playground, identified a site for the new playground. There is significant it's on back order, just because of like everything, the word I'm looking for, misses me, but it's gonna take some time for that to get here. I think right now it's projected the end of November. But however, they can start some of the site work, such as the border perimeter, any soft play area that needs to be put in place ahead of receiving the actual playground equipment. Okay. But hopefully by the spring and the things get warm again, there'll be a nice, pretty playground for our elementary school students. Lastly, on July 31st, this board approved for the administration to make a request to the Halifax County Commissioners to partner and co-apply for an additional $10 million with the Needs-Based Public Schools Capital Fund Grant. The administration made that request on August 7th to the Halifax County Board of Commissioners, and they approved to partner with Weldon City Schools to co-apply for the $10 million that is available for previous recipients of the grant, mainly to ensure that the project moves us forward because of inflationary costs due to building right now, and any other improvements that you may see necessary now that you're in the design and development phase of the project. So again, the Board of Commissioners did approve. Grateful for that, to move forward with that, because that does also require a 5% match from them, and so they did make that commitment on the morning of August 7th during that Board of Commissioners meeting. On August 23rd, that's the next steering committee meeting. That is an in-person evening meeting for the steering committee, so we need to make sure that that gets noticed properly ahead of time for 5:30 to 7:30, and Ratio, and this is just a reminder because I think these dates have been set previously. Ratio will be presenting a design update and allowing the steering committee the opportunity to review some interior finishes. They'll be bringing some colors and different schemes to for the board to review. Also, they'll have some updated 3D rendering and views for the board also. And they are working on probably next week during our staff meeting with myself, the principals, and Ratio. We met on I think it was the 9th, like the last week. And they talked about there's a need now to work specifically with our child nutrition staff, culinary arts department, and music partners, music staff to help develop those areas with design, because as we are now in the design development phase. All right, any questions about facilities? Yes.
So you said that we brought in portable AC units the first day. We want to make sure that our staff and students, continue to be cool. How long have we rented those for?
We're not renting them, we purchased.
Oh, so they're ours. Do you know roughly how many we have?
We purchased four that day, and we already had some in place.
Okay.
But I don't know, I don't have an exact count right here. I mean, because we purchased some in the spring as well. But of course, they'd be asset tagged, and so I can ask for inventory.
I was just wondering, because like I said, we do want to make sure that if we can keep the areas cool for our staff and our students, then
Right,
especially until we can get these things taken care of.
yeah, absolutely. Can't,
Okay.
can't learn in a hot classroom.
Absolutely.
And we just had to do what we had to do, so that was just a Lowe's pickup. Keep everybody comfortable.
Okay. Thank you.
Question.
Yes.
Where are we as far as RBEC? It has the community college,
Yes, sir. So, you mean the HVAC system?
right?
So, yeah, they did experience some HVAC, difficulty, early in the week. Dr. Robinson reached out to the president, and, Dr. Elliott, and she immediately, responded. And, they have, gotten that, we put a patch on it to get it back working, and then also received communication from the president, yesterday evening, specifically permanent fixes and, you know, costs that they are committing, to make sure that building is back on. Very responsible with that area. Yeah. Any other questions about facilities? All right. Transportation. We had all our Tim's routes in place for the start of the school year with the contract that this board approved to make that happen. As a result, our drivers and bus monitors were trained at the beginning of the year, as well as our drivers received McKinney-Vento training by our district social worker. We also got an update, asked for an update on the 2 new Carolina Thomas buses, and they are in final inspection. So they should be rolling up to Weldon City Schools within weeks now. They're within their final inspection. And we should be seeing them, we should be receiving delivery of those very soon. This year, started at the end of last year, but this year we're implementing a activity bus calendar just to increase communication of our uses of activity buses. So we have a Google Calendar that Mr. Hunter actually already got in place for this year. That's going to allow everyone throughout the district to know where our activities buses are, right? In terms of who's using them, if they're available. Work with Mr. Lynch and Mr. Hawkins. We've already gotten the athletic schedules on those calendars so that we don't run into any conflicts. Because we know those have to be used for those as a priority. And of course, other field trips can be scheduled around the use of those activity buses. But we did want to go ahead and get those on the schedule first. And then as the year goes on, we know we'll be getting field trip requests that will be coming for transportation to coordinate additional uses of the activity buses. And it's shared with principals, the athletic directors, and central office staff, so that they know, but also as central office receives requests, they'll know whether or not there's already a commitment for those buses on those things. Just a reminder that our Halifax County bus garage, they continue to provide monthly bus inspections for our activity buses. We know they manage the yellow buses, but they do continue to provide monthly inspections for activity buses, and we receive those reports to make corrections and or repairs rather. And also update on Here Comes the Bus application. Currently, right now, that's still in kind of the technology troubleshooting phase. Spoke with Ms. Dutton this week about just the technology part of it. There's some firewall troubleshooting that's happening right now to ensure that that project can move forward. But there's steady work going on with that project. Any questions about anything in transportation?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question regarding the Google Calendar. Are the principals receiving that calendar? Because our teachers should not have to wait till it gets to the central office to know if they can schedule a trip. The principals get it first, so they ought to be able to let the teacher know so they can go in and get another date before it moves to the central office.
Yeah, so it's shared with principals and athletic directors. Well, maybe have received that already. Yeah, I see them shaking their head. They have
Okay,
received that.
okay,
That's the whole point, it's the increased communication.
right, okay.
All right. Next child nutrition. The good news to celebrate, we did have an increase in our lunch and breakfast meals served when in comparison from the 21-22 school year to the 22-23 school year. There was an increase of 4,483 lunches served. And there was an increase of 4,305 breakfast meals served. And as I'm just now, I realized there was another report I want to share with you all the actual total number, but there was around 85,000, approximately 85,000 lunch meals served and approximately 69,000 breakfast meals served. But I want to get you all that exact number, Dr. Simonton. I can share that with you, share with them. And you reminded me during our prep session, read that report, but just remember that. Staff adjustments to support increased enrollments at RVET and MUL due to increased enrollment at RVET and MUL participation. So numbers have significantly increased in terms of enrollment at RVET, so we've had to pull staff from the middle school to help lunch. And we are child nutrition departments continue to explore strategies to increase supplemental sales. And potentially looking at, increasing the number of in-house catering events, right? So I know we as administrators, we have lots of meetings and we bring in lots of food, right? And so we might want to consider how we use in-house child nutrition department to help serve meals so that we are taking care of our own program, right? And we can start, with our sales in doing that so that we can keep our child nutrition program running, because we know that we're seeing increase in meals served, but we know inflation has also increased prices of food.
Yes.
And so you guys got to continue to keep an eye on that. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Question. Thank you, Mr. Kudrow. Okay, at this time, call for a break. Would you like to take a break or continue going on? A break. Okay, we'll take a break of 5 minutes. Right. Okay, this time we're back in session. We're at number 8, public forum. Dr. Simonton, do we have anyone for public forum?
We do have 3 committee members signed up to speak. The first name is Emily Correct.
Good evening.
Good evening.
To the board chair, board members, interim superintendent, other Wellington City Schools officials. I am standing before you tonight to seek your permission for a project that we came and talked to you about it early, a few months early, about the memorial wall and the Rosenwald marker on the property at Howard and First Street. We thought it was also proper for us to further ask you or seek your permission to tear down the planter that's there, the overgrown planter, and have Lynch's sign company erect a coming soon sign to promote excitement for the alumni and the area. So we would like to ask your permission first before, it's done, even though you have given us permission to erect the wall and the sign. We also want to get your permission for, the machinery comes in to knock down the planter and the wall. And that's why I'm asking your permission.
Okay. Okay, well, and that's what I had up here for E, but I didn't know Miss Emily was gonna be here. It's basically the same thing. I sent you pictures of the signage that they wanted to use. This is what they wanted to use, and Miss Emily had already passed these at our last meeting. And the planner that is down there, you can see this was inside what Miss Emily gave you last month.
And I apologize for not staying, but my father was with me, he's 91 years old. And we had 2 doctor's appointments in Greenville, and he was really worn out. So,
With that, the sign is 4x4,
yeah.
and they are taking care of all the expenses.
But the class of 1973 will be paying for the sign and also the erection of the sign.
So I guess at this time, we just need what's the page on the board.
I
If you
mean-
got any questions?
I move that we move forward as the WIA. Grant them permission to move forward with their plans with the old Ralph J. Bunch.
Second.
Oh,
you want? I thought you were finished.
We're tearing down the planter and erecting the sign coming soon for the playground. Now,
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned by Ms. Robinson, second by Reverend Sykes. give permission to the WIA to move forward with the modification they want to do to the Halifax Training School and the old Ralph T. Bunt School, Rosenwald School. Any question? All in favor, aye? Aye. Motion passes. Get started when you're ready.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Em.
I would like to personally thank each one of you for allowing us to do that, and this has been dreaming that for over 20 years.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Ms. Em.
My apologies to Ms. Street for mispronouncing your name. Next we have Ms. Regina Brooks. Ms. Brooks?
This Brooks is here, I can't hear you, thank you.
Ms. Brooks is here. She can't hear.
Okay.
She's ready.
Mr. Chairman, before you begin, I would like for the Father of the Year, Mr. Ellis Davis, to pass some materials out to you. Mr. Davis, would you assist me with the?
Absolutely.
May not be enough, but I'm sure you can get copies. There are some names on some things.
Oh, okay.
When you're ready, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am, we're ready.
Good evening to all. There are some points that I want to make known, just in case if I don't finish. Number one, leave Anessa Robinson alone. There are at least two of you who are trying to micromanage her. She's the best thing you have. If you lose your good thing, what are you gonna do? Number two, stop trying to do the job of others. This is what Glenn Rawlings told the commissioners last month. Do your job. Number three, I'm sick and tired of you dismissing Regina Brooks. I have given Mr. Richard Holmes and Tisha Power, Spectrum News, and others the right to investigate my 30 or 40 years in education, and they will publicize it. I'm told that I'm needed for the children. Dr. Ed Bell created a monster at East Carolina University. Make sure you tell them that. But it's a monster for the children. My legacy, if you see, will be carried on. Read about it. Tonight, I tell you, someone missed the technological edge. Going back to basics, how can you go back to basics in this technological era? Tell me, please. Weldon City Schools, Superintendent, top administrative staff, and Central Services, you and your esteemed legal team, stop playing musical chairs with your administrative. People have one job within 3 months. Some have advanced to 3 positions. Okay, enough is enough, as I've written to you before. For my professional and my legacy, during my professional career, which exists more today than it did in 1976 at East Carolina University, Winston-Salem State, I have received many professional accolades. Some of my mentors, which include Mr. Walter Harris, who was my first principal, still living, Dr. Ed Bell, my advisor, Dr. Ernest Andrew Brooks II, my husband, Dr. Kenneth Hammond, a pastor, Dr. Dudley Flood, my husband's father, he called, Mr. David Dennis, social justice, Mr. Eddie Davis, retired educator, and my 94-year-old chum, Sister Geneva Branch. They keep telling me, Regina, the children need you. And of course, Mr. Ken Sue, a school board lawyer that I respect highly. Well, how can you continue to tell me that the children need me, and Weldon City Schools are telling me something different. They don't need me, they don't want me. What's the problem? Are you afraid? Tonight, as I stated, Mr. Holmes will get documentation for the past 30 years. My legacy, as Shirley Chisholm said, unbossed, unbought. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Mr. Noah Davis.
Thank you. You'll begin when you begin. Mr. Davis. Good evening, Weldon City School Board, and welcome, Dr. Simonton. I truly hope there will be no dogs hollering tonight. I've been married for 34 years, and one thing my wife has always shown me is that it is very hard to self-examine and be honest about what you find. Most of us here are married or have been married at some point in our lives and know when a person really loves you, they will tell you the truth and still accept you with all your flaws. I encourage this board to truly self-examine. When you have multiple sources saying the same thing about you, you really should take a true look to see if that information is true. When I spoke last month, I did call some board members by name, and I was told that what I said was not true. I get it, because I'm guilty of this myself. When accused of something, I immediately go into defense or into survival mode. It is human nature to survive by fight or flight. However, one of the facts I stated was untrue. That individual had just displayed that behavior with the Director of Student Services, not even 15 minutes prior to me making that statement. When I stand before you, I don't come to make accusations. I state facts. If ever in doubt, go back and look at your prior school board meetings from the last 12 to 24 months, and you will find the examples. That is, if you're honest with yourself and truly want to correct this behavior. Better yet, just ask the last 9 individuals who held the superintendent position. As my wife also has shown me hundreds of times, when you are on the receiving end of wrongful treatment, you remember and you have very specific examples of who, what, when, and where these incidents occurred. Board, I'm not here for an argument, but it is time for the foolishness to stop. I just want to see a positive change in our board, our superintendent position, and our Weldon City Schools district. I heard you talking about board training. That is a fantastic idea. But we also have to look at making some changes personally. For this training to be beneficial, and if you want good fruit, you cannot plant good seeds in bad soil. As always, I thank you for your time. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is board retreat and training.
That's me. We still need to do a board retreat to discuss our budget and our $1.4 million that's missing. And we are dealt with. That's why we're here. To find out where that is and how it was spent. I requested last meeting that I need that information of comparing the previous year's budget and expenditures to last year's expenditures to see where the 1.4 million went. I still have not received them. Also, we need a retreat to discuss other matters of the board, including board training.
such as parliamentary procedures and other needs that we have internally. This is not my first request. This is not my second request. Hopefully, we can move forward with both of these in a timely manner.
Next item, district retreat.
I do believe that the district retreat was planned and it was canceled and they wanted to wait for our interim superintendent to get here. But we still need to make sure that there's accountability for all employees here at Well. First few weeks of school, everyone should be here and at work. There are just some negotiable, non-negotiable things that when you have a job and you have a contract, there are things that you are expected to do. And so I think a board, district retreat would help and assist us with our new employees coming on at central services. There's a lot to discuss and some accountability measures that need to take place. Excuse me, Chair. For the board, for A, are we gonna discuss it? Or,
Is part of it.
What are we gonna set one up? What are we gonna set up for board treatment? Well, and or board training.
For the board training, we had set that up where we had talked about it, then we talked about waiting because of the budget. So expressions have been made about having one, but as a group, we didn't decide on anything, which means it takes a quorum to at least say how the board retreat.
Okay.
So I'm for it, but we still haven't met with the budget to see where we are with the budget. So I know we're hearing those conversation pieces, but nothing's being acted on.
So, can I make a motion? Okay, I would like to make a motion to, have, for us to attend, have board training and a retreat.
second,
Okay. All right. Ms. Hale made a motion. Second by Ms. Barry Robinson. For a board training. Any questions?
Question. I thought that we had already decided on the board training because you reached out to North Carolina School Board Association and, you know, we were waiting for those budgets. We had already decided we were gonna do that.
Okay, but we said we waited on the budget before we did anything.
Right.
Yes, I had reached
I'm
out,
with you,
no, I
I'm
had
saying-
reached out to Ms. Powell.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
she gave me two scenarios, I shared that with the board. And only thing, nobody said when, the only discussion was, we need one. It takes more than 1, 2, 3 people, it takes 4 to do it, so we needed 4. I
I'm
know what you're
with
saying.
you on that. I'm
Okay.
just saying, we had already, Ms. Hale she motioned to do both, but we had already motioned to do the board training, but we were just waiting on the budget piece, you know, to set up dates. That's what I was talking about.
Well, I was to find out factually what was going on, so I brought that back, so now it's up to the body. What you want, which part of it? You had a board retreat, okay? And
train,
train. Question, date. The last time we tried to do something, I took a poll of the board members and it was for 6 weeks. And we only had one day in that 6 weeks when everyone could meet. That was June the 5th. The rest of the time, one member had this, another member had that, another one had this, another one had that. And we just didn't have it. So we need to decide on a date. As I said before, that's a commitment as board members that we have to the school system. All these meeting times, especially where we are now, with all the things that's going on with the transition, where you're gonna have to give us some time. I mean, you talk about your love of the students, commitment to the community and the people that elected you and me. But the only thing we seem to be able to do is when it's convenient. When it's convenient. And we beyond that. A new school is not gonna do it. New school is not gonna do it. It's gonna take commitment from us. We have meetings, as Dr. Reverend Sykes, excuse me, Reverend Sykes said earlier. Sometimes we can't even get a quorum. You can't even get a quorum. And we got this, it says we attended meeting, board training, which is sufficient if we live back. If we live back. But we go to these trainings, I'm included, when I say we, I mean we go to these trainings and it's almost like being there just to get credit for being there. We don't come back and implement, or we don't live by those guidelines. I'm through.
Mr. Williams, one of the things that I know that we talked about as a board is if everybody can't go to a session, then those of us that are there, we need to bring back the information and share it so that everybody can be on the same page. Both of these things are equally important, and I am ready to move forward tonight with scheduling both of those. I know that Ms. Hale sent out an email, you sent out an email, and I said, I know you sent out an email, Ms. Hale has sent out an email about a meeting, not about this in particular, I'm just saying as a meeting, period. So as you say it, that's our commitment, and we need to go ahead and move forward with that. As always, I'm ready to move forward with dates so that we can go ahead and make this.
I'm gonna suggest the 14th of September, since we already have the second Thursday and should have it available. For the retreat? Either one.
So let,
Training.
Training
we
separate.
need, questions, we need to go to a vote.
Okay.
So all those in favor of a board retreat and board training, all in favor say aye, all opposed. Motion, there will be a board training and retreat.
Mr. Williams, can you get with Ramona to see where, what, like the time that we have to do, and then so if, I know there was different modules, and is this module gonna be 4 hours, or is this module gonna be 2 hours, and we plan for it that way?
Okay, when I report back, according to Ms. Ramon, if we want to master training, it was $1,500 per session. There were 7 sections, and you had to be prepared to pay the individual for travel or the expenses involved. The other option was, she said maybe 3 or 4 sections where she could work it out, but it could come in and do the session and go back. It would probably be about $300. And that's the dilemma we were at when everything got tabled. So which one do you want? Do you want me to go back to her and say, we want board training, which requires 7 meetings? Or do you want to do the option of maybe 3 or 4 meetings?
The district retreat was being planned for Washington DC.
Okay, just
$50,000.
just-
Haven't used that.
just a minute. I'll say we want to get the training first.
That's what I'm talking about, the money to pay for it.
Okay,
I've already presented that one time before.
I know you said that, I mean, but it wasn't anything that was voted on.
I know, but I'm just, I can't carry the vote. I have to just make the suggestion. There was a budget presented to us for a district retreat. And that was, those funds were never used. As chair, I asked the you to find out if we can use part of that or 10,000 of that for us to be trained. That had to happen before we could take a vote on it.
But you expressed that opinion, but nobody else said it.
Okay. But then we voted tonight that we want to move forward.
Okay,
I think we-
check with, I'll see with, Dr. Salmonton about funds available, just the funds for the retreat or for both.
Well, the one for the retreat is gonna be minimal. I mean, because that's just, I don't think we'll have to pay for a space, but if we do, and, you know. But I guess the biggest expense is gonna be on the training.
Correct.
Again, is that gonna be for both, funding for both? If needed,
If needed, yes.
I'll give it Dr. Sam. Yeah. Okay, let's, Saturday dates.
Tiffany, what you said, the 14th?
And that is for
For
retreat.
what? For retreat.
It doesn't matter. That's just the date that we already set aside.
Because it's gonna be, if he said it's 7 meetings or 3 or 4, then you're not gonna be able to just stop.
Well, we could do the retreat that night. being
Okay.
14th.
Okay, well, first of all, I'll have to get back with Ms. Ramon now to
To
see
see.
if those dates are still available.
So we can do the retreat on the 14th.
If the retreat.
Is there gonna be enough time, do you think, like an evening? Or do you
Yeah,
need
just
to
like
do
what
it
we
more?
normally do.
The board retreat.
What time?
September 14th,
Yes,
day
sir.
to day. At what time?
What time? 5:30? 5:30 is fine with me. 5:30 fine
Okay,
with
we
me.
have 5:30 as a time.
Okay,
Everyone in favor of that? Anyone opposed to that? Okay, the board retreat would be September 14th at 5:30. Now, I would check with Ms. Ramona in terms of the other dates for Mountain training.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Next, we have board clerk duties that was Ms. Ms. Barry Robinson.
I think based on the information we received, we need to scratch that, correct?
Scratch. Okay, E, that was Ms. Emily, she already presented. So we'll scratch that. F, presidential inauguration, Halifax Community College, that was Ms. Hale.
Well, it was sent to everyone before I even presented it, but, there is an inauguration, presidential inauguration at Halifax Community College for our 56th annual Founder's Day ceremony. And, there will be a gala on September 8th that, is up for the board if you'd like to attend and to purchase a table. The information is on this QR code, but I wanted to know if the board was, did everybody on the board want to go?
How much is your check?
The table is 700 for a table of 8. This is a formal event. So, I plan to be there. Okay. Where I would like to make a motion for the board to purchase a table at the Founder's Day Gala, September 8th.
Second.
Been motion by Ms. Hale and second to Ms. Harrison for the board to purchase the table at the gala, for Dr. Elliott, Halifax Community College. Are there any questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. We do not have any, items from the consent agenda.
Yeah. We have the EC contract. The
Yeah,
EC
that-
contract.
That's 11.
That's 11.
But-
That's next. Okay, next we'll have the EC contract.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Board members, thank you for your indulgence for receiving this contract on short notice. We will not do that regularly. It's very important that this service be added for a student as an item for this service. And before you should have a contract for your review. And I'm gonna go over some parts of the contract, and if you have questions, I will answer them as I can, and we'll ask staff to chime in as necessary. So this contract is to occur between the school district and Envision Services of Hillsborough, North Carolina. In section 2, it describes what will be occurring as it relates to the contract, providing services, as it relates to lesson preparation, documentation, consultation, evaluation. In section 4, the total compensation for the contract for the academic year 23-24 is $20,900. Our board attorney has taken a look at this contract. It includes all of the provisions and the language that keeps this contract in good standing. It has been fiscally audited. If you turn to the very back of the handout, the contract covers the scope of services. So you can see what the teacher who will be providing the services will do. Again, the revision services for licensed teacher to provide deaf and hard of hearing services to students enrolled in city schools. Other questions?
Do we have any teachers who have the certification? I know at one time they did.
I do not know the answer to that. Are there any teachers currently in the district who have this certification? No.
Make a motion to approve the contract.
Second.
Oh, there's any more questions?
Wait, okay.
Why not?
And I,
No, okay, been motion by Ms. Hale and second, Ms. Barry Robinson. That the EC contract be approved. Are there any questions? Question? If not, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Thank you. But this time, we go back and close, sir.
Make a motion going back into closed session.
second.
The motion by Ms. Hale. And second by Ms. Barry Robinson. If we go back into closed session, any questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed?